Let's go. What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are hearing me loud and clear. Let me get a confirmation from the audience, but I think we should be good to go. I'm excited. I'm hyped. Robinson, Kevin, what's up, guys? Good to have you guys here. I think this is like the first official Wormhole Ecosystem Call. We've done community calls in the past. We did the end of year call, which was fun, but we dug in up the production value. So we're hyped. I'm hyped. It's good to have you guys here. Why don't we say what up, Kev, and then Robinson.
What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Pleasure to be here. Wormhole Ecosystem Call. We're connecting the universe of assets and every app and agent, and we're putting W at the center of all of it. Welcome.
Let's go.
Let's go. I'm hype. Honestly, that intro music, I kind of could have gone for. We should start it at 5 next time because I could have more of a lead up to vibe to. But super stoked to have Kevin here as well, and yeah, excited to get into it. Thanks for hosting, Thomas.
Let's go. Of course. Yeah, Kevin's like our intern trainee. He's still learning about Wormhole, so he might ask some questions that we might have to answer. But yeah. He's learning. He's got the training wheels on, but he'll be a force. He's already a force. But yeah, let's jump in. I think this is always going to be a work in progress, the agenda, because so many things happen within the Wormhole ecosystem. I think what we want to do is take the opportunity here to kind of give you guys like a review of like everything that's happened in the Wormhole ecosystem, and then a preview of everything to come. So I'm going to spend some time, Robinson's going to spend some time dissecting the past month or so. Been a crazy month for Wormhole. Volumes popping off, meme coins popping off. We'll kind of dive into that. We'll see what chains are doing volume. I think we kind of already have a guess of who's been leading the pack. So we'll cover that as well. Big things on the stake for governance side. SRP1 rewards went live. We'll talk a little bit about that, and then we can't go anywhere without talking about ecosystem highlights. So we'll cover some wins. I'll cover some of the teams that I'm stoked about that have entered the Wormhole, and then we'll dive into some Wormhole contributors in the wild. So that's a fun segment at the end that we will cover and hear from. Well, we'll cover some of Rob's content and then what Robinson and Dan have been up to IRL. But yeah, let's dive into it. So figured we'd start off with like the high level of the Wormhole volume. This is like the chains that have been leading the charge in terms of net outflow. So this don't take these numbers at face value. If you go on Wormhole Scan and you toggle by chain, you'll see that these are the chains that are leading the volume, and this isn't quite indicative of what the actual picture looks like, because this is just the initial toggle. This is close to $2 billion in outflows from these various chains, but I think what we really want to dive into is the dissection of the Solana volume. So you saw only 500 mil on that screen, but this is like this is the larger picture here. So this is actually the stats from the from last weekend, Robinson. If I'm standing corrected, I feel it feels like so long ago. Like, was it the weekend before? Was it last weekend? I don't know.
I remember
like 8 or 9 days ago.
Yeah, all I remember, it's the Trump and Melania weekend. Never forget. It's like the worst. It is like the worst thing to happen on a weekend is like dropping that, because so many. I was talking to some of our friends at MoonPay, and they were talking about how their systems were getting hit so hard. Ours were as well. Just like it was the Trump and Melania weekend.
Exactly. So again, we did in a 3-day span, we did $1.2 billion worth of volume across the Wormhole protocol, and $1 billion of that was Solana volume. And we obviously have to think about that in 2 ways, right? There's inflows to the chain and outflows. The previous graphic was obviously just monthly outflows, but this kind of gives us the better picture, right? We saw $772 million worth of assets into Solana. Obviously some outflows, but that's always to be expected when we're going both directions. So yeah, I mean, our systems were under load. Like there's like, I don't think there's any two ways about it. Like if as an interop protocol, like if your systems weren't maxed out during that weekend, like maybe I don't know what you were doing. But yeah, Robinson, like that was super exciting to see. Like I don't know what else you think. I mean, Kevin, as like a Solana maxi, what were the reactions to seeing that? I mean, the president of the he hadn't been inaugurated yet, but the president of the United States dropping his meme coin on Solana. I mean, the boys must have been hyped.
Yeah, I mean, it's big news. First of all, one of the eats for that. Did that work? Did you hear it? Never mind. So a couple of things. First of all, I'm nobody's intern. Let's get that straight. Second of all, all right. Second of all, this is, and I'm also not a Solana maxi, believe it or not. I actually got into crypto because of Ethereum. Vitalik's a hero of mine. I also think Bitcoin is like the most important thing to happen to humanity in a very long time. And it'll all click when the world goes digital and we need a way to transact without government approval or censorship. That said, this was a huge deal. I actually was on my way back from New York. I was on a plane. I had like a free hour of Wi-Fi or something, and I logged on Twitter, and I saw that Trump released a coin, and I thought that was absolutely insane. So I feel like I got on a plane and landed, and the world was different. I think he smashed the Overton window. Well, you know, regardless of how you feel about Trump, he just completely shifted the paradigm, unironic, literal paradigm shift. Everything that we predicted in terms of the tokenization of the world is happening much faster than we ever could have predicted, and that accelerated it by a lot. And then he ruined it with the Melania coin, but that's a separate topic.
The Melania coin is the outflows. It's when Melania dropped, you see the 240 outflow. They're like, get out of here. Yeah, I mean, look, it was I think from a worm, it was funny because I'm you know, American and normally in the US or born in the US, but at the time, and I remember all of the tweets about like the Europors, like specifically dropping this token when they were all asleep. I was in Europe. I was asleep. Of course, I was like abruptly woken up by, you know, hey, we got to make sure everything's working, blah, blah, blah. But I just remember like being in that situation, being like, of all the times not to be in the US. But look, I think what's great about this is like, whether it's on Solana, whether it's on Ethereum, whether it's on Sui, whether, you know, maybe someday the BTC L2s go live and maybe meme coins are on there. It's business for Wormhole, right? You know, you need Wormhole to transact between all these chains. So it's awesome that it was on Solana. Obviously we come from Solana and we will always be extremely, extremely close with them, but you know, any chain is good for us. But yeah, what a time to be alive, as the kids say.
What a time to be alive. And you know, it's good looking at like the Wormhole picture by itself, but I think it's special, even more special when you look at this stuff. Like this is the stuff that gets people excited. I just think that it's a testament to everything that we work towards on a daily basis. Like making sure that we are providing the best routes, the most seamless routes across chains, and you know, just dominating the volume across the board. So yeah, it's special to see, and I think like we're just going to keep working towards that, right, Rob?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think the one
We're
thing
gonna
people don't
win.
realize. What's up? Can you hear me? Oh, W. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that people don't oftentimes realize is like how much stuff Wormhole powers, and it's hard to articulate. It's almost like articulating. I oftentimes use like Swift or wire transfers or something like that. Like you don't really know like how much money is flowing. And so actually we made this huge push recently to get a lot of the data accurate in DeFi Llama, because for years it wasn't. And the reason why is because there's a lot of different chains we'll touch, a lot of different smart contracts. Getting all that data correct, it actually was a huge effort. So this was really big for us, getting all this organized and actually seeing, okay, all of like the Wormhole powered asset protocols, like this is what it's adding up to. And just kind of, it gave a lot of the team a lot of validation just around like, okay, we are powering the most asset flow in the industry. And I think we'll continue to see this just kind of go up and to the right. I guess in this example, from my perspective, up and to the left. But yeah, you get the point.
Totally. All right, that was our volume talk. I think that was a great overview of like what we've been doing. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to hear from a special guest before we move on to our next segment.
Welcome to the Wormhole Ecosystem Call. It's going to be awesome. We are locked in, shipping. 2 big announcements this week. We're here with our new special guest and Solana legend Kevin, and Robinson in the building. Let's go. Welcome to the Wormhole Ecosystem Call. It's going to be awesome. We are locked in, shipping.
All right, that's enough of Neil deGrasse. I had to throw that in there. I think Neil deGrasse is a big hero of ours on the Wormhole side. We have one particular Wormhole contributor, Richit. I hope he's watching. Richit, that was for you, bro. He's a Neil deGrasse Tyson maxi, so I had to do that for him. But yeah, like as I said, I think the volumes are one side, and it's like it's good to look back. I think it's also just as fun to look forward to, like, you know, the chains entering the wormhole. I would say like it's a very exciting time for new, simply new chain launches. Like you could dress that up a little bit more, but the fact of the matter is there are some very exciting new chains coming to the ecosystem that Wormhole is going to be powering routes for. I would say like we're all, the timeline is cannot be more anxious for the Berachain launch. Wormhole's obviously live on Berachain testnet. So to the community, to the builders, to the ecosystem, I would say look out for some announcements there. Hyperliquid, talk of the town. Wormhole is live on Hyperliquid testnet. So any builders looking to take advantage of those routes, and again, stay tuned for some announcements there. And then I think, like, surprisingly, Ink's been cooking. I think Kraken's kind of been a sleeper in terms of two fronts. They've been crushing it. Their listings team has been crushing it. I think like that's one element. And then second element is like, your main business starts to become like more CT native. Like you'll start to see more success in other areas of your business. So yeah, I think for me, obviously, a Berachain, very excited for the Berachain launch. Everyone loves Hyperliquid now, and then I think like Kraken is another cool one. Others too. I'm not being selective. I just figured it'd be good to highlight these three. And I know Robinson for sure is excited for some of the up and coming chains that we have going live.
Kev, what chains are you excited about? Anything come top of mind that you're just like amped for?
Yeah, I mean the Hyperliquid one for sure. So it's a Tendermint chain. The real innovation is in the product, the Perps product. And so if we're able to bridge our assets on a Hyperliquid, trade them on a Hyperliquid, bring them back to Solana, I love it. It's perfect.
Done. We love fast chains. Yeah, I mean I'm excited. We were looking at what some of the submissions to the Guardians were that obviously vote on new chains. We've got more than this coming. I think we've been ready for some chains for a very long time, as most people know. Not just Vera and Monad in Q4 pushed to Q5. There were some other ones as well. So we're excited for those. I know Movement's on the horizon. I know Unichain is on the horizon. There's others too. I can't even think of it. I think the current like top priority list is long.
Yeah, this is just our last three. So once we get to mainnet and we're on this call next time, we'll have some more updates, and then maybe we'll actually get to see some flows to these chains that are just entering the wormhole. So these are the chains. I think equally as exciting are the memes. See, Wormhole seizes the memes of production like I don't think like any other interop protocol. So we all know Trump is now whitelisted on Portal. You can bridge it between a variety of chains. Nero recently went live. Nero's a cool one to me. The Doge sister is a special coin. And then everybody's favorite Ticker Bitcoin. Ticker Bitcoin actually just got listed on Kraken, which I think is like one of their first major listings, a coin that's like almost 2 years old, perennial meme coin. Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic 10, Inu. Funnily enough, I actually bought some of this at like 200K market cap, and I sold it, and it went to like 500 million. So that was like very painful, but I'm still a huge fan of them. I believe they're cooking with Berachain right now. But yeah, so if you're interested in moving any of these assets cross chain, Portal Bridge is your place to do it. They will be whitelisted on the UX. You can find them easily. Rob, you got any meme coins we should be whitelisting on Portal, making them easy to go multi-chain?
I mean, it doesn't get like these are big ones, right? It's hard to get much bigger than these. I do know we're making some upgrades to make it even easier to add like any. So if you go on Uniswap, for instance, and you swap a token, you'll notice there's like a big red banner if the contract address hasn't been verified or if it's not on a US exchange, etc. That's good, right? It's like permissionless. You should be able to kind of trade whatever. Portal will kind of go through a very similar process. So soon you'll be able to, I think there's always a delay sometimes with some of these tokens. They go live and then you can't bridge them for like 24 hours later or something. Soon that response time is going to be like way faster. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than these. I don't know much about Nero, candidly. I haven't been in the loop on that one. So I got to look into the lore there. But yeah, I'm excited. We should see more. I mean, what's funny about Wormhole is that like it's a barbell, right? You have the institutions, which we'll talk about soon, which has been a huge week for, and then the memes. Like both Wormhole powers both of them, which I just always think is funny.
Kev, any MOG? We need to get MOG.
Yeah. Anything I'm holding, definitely a big priority. My bags, I'll just send you a list of whatever I'm holding at the moment. I think Vinecoin is going to be a big deal. I don't know. It depends. We'll see if this is a real thing. The founder of Vine is back. He launched a token, seems to get some buzz. The thing about that is Twitter owns Vine. So we're all kind of like, how does that work? Is this like officially tied into that, or are we getting scammed? We'll find out.
We're in limbo. We're in limbo right now, dude. Honestly, like it's crazy because I was like looking at the engagement that the founder was getting at Russ. Like it just shows you the power of like a token and like how passionate token holders are. Like this dude, every time he tweets, like 5K likes in like 10 minutes, and everyone's just blowing up his replies. Every time someone from the X team like tease it, it's like they're teasing everybody. Like they're gonna kind of want to bring it back. They don't. And then you have this like insane army of Viners that now want Vine back. It's a spectacle.
I mean, if it did come back, that would be amazing. It's the American predecessor to TikTok. It was, it inspired TikTok, some might argue, and it's
Vine was made in America.
Superior. Yes, exactly. Anything made in America is better than anywhere else, as we all know. It's just like a fact of life. So we'll see what happens with it. I mean, I think, and then that led to what happened yesterday. There was one of the co-founders of Venmo, released a token for his new social media app. Which has been around for a while, but this might breathe some new life into it. I don't know, the whole idea of like a token as a coordination mechanism to build community, to get people like rally behind a cause, whether it's like raising money for cancer research, reviving a social media app. I don't know. We're in new times, and it's like just the beginning. It's the very, very, very beginning.
Yeah. I saw a really funny tweet earlier where it was like all of crypto, and then it was like how I'm gonna totally botch this, but like someone needs to make the on-chain Venmo for us to adopt the next users. And then it's like Venmo founder drops meme coin. It's hilarious.
So Iran's like 200 mil, like north of, and then everyone kind of like looked at what like the actual app was, and everyone's just like, oh wait, this is a screen recording app. Again, not commenting on the functionality of the app itself, but I think that was just funny.
You said it. He said
we know CT, like CT's like ape now, ask questions later. And like, that was like very much what happened last night. But good to see. I mean, internet capital markets, initial pump offering, we pump fund degens, we're working for you. I know there's a little snag for our pump fund degens looking to go multi-chain, but the devs are working on it. So don't worry, we'll be back soon.
Initial pump offering. Ryan Watkins yesterday said this is the beginning of the .fun boom, right? There was like the .com boom. This is the .fun boom. And here's the thing, though, the magic of these tokens, maybe your app is kind of dead, but if you create a whole new community of rabid fans with these tokens, like maybe they'll breathe some new life into it. We'll see.
Totally. All right, we're gonna flip frames a little bit. Talking about memes is always super fun, but talking about SRP is also fun. Our Staking Rewards program, reward 1 went live. Again, I don't even know my days, but felt like maybe last week, 10 days ago, Robinson. Regardless, it was a massive effort from everyone on the team. We distributed 53 million W to 58,000 eligible governance participants. And with that, SRP2 went live as well. Again, this is just like a step 2 in our multi-chain governance journey. I think we have a big step 3 coming up, hopefully this quarter, Robinson. I know like it's something you're super excited about. It's always fun to reward the community. But I kind of know we're all looking forward to getting boots on the ground and fully launching, multi-chain governance.
Yeah, I think that maybe the thing I would say is like, this is just the beginning of the staking roadmap. And I think roadmap in this industry is kind of like a loaded term because everyone just says roadmap and, to say like, here's a future vision. I would maybe argue like if there's any team that has shown over the 4 years that their execution, there's many teams, but one of those teams is also Wormhole. So the staking roadmap is real. And this was just kind of the first component of it. The component 2 is already started. And how I would think about the remaining ones are native staking, right? That's something, of course, that has to happen. Wormhole has like a ton of products, right? Where value capture happens, you can potentially turn on fees, different various things. So I would keep all of this in mind as like part of this broader staking roadmap. And as we kind of turn different things on and launch governance, et cetera, I think it'll be a really, really fruitful program for W holders.
We love that. I look forward to seeing Kevin in the governance proposals with his wormhole improvement proposals. It's like take Mog multi-chain. Hopefully that passes. I'd vote on that proposal. I think that'd be cool. Cool. So
yes, on proposition, Kevin. Whenever I put that out, vote yes on that. It's going to be basically transferring your treasury to my wallet. It's going to be a really big proposal. Just keep your eyes out for that.
All right, I'm looking out for that. I'm also looking out for our ecosystem highlights. I think that these were some of the highlights for me for sure. I think 2 on the most left and the most right. Orbit, one of the leading DeFi AI teams, DeFi, however you want to pronounce it, integrating the Wormhole SDK, which gives them, sub 15-second native cross-chain swaps. So in this context, you are communicating with a program in natural language, and then you are that your command or your prompt is actually getting facilitated by the Wormhole SDK, which I think is insane. Hey Orbit, swap 1 Solana for 0.1 ETH, and it does it for you. Native assets, not wrapped. I think very cool. On the most right bio, one of the leading DeFi protocols, going natively multi-chain with Wormhole NTT. I think, again, the exciting piece for me is like everyone loves to talk about, the hot topic, DeFi, DeSci. I really feel that no matter like what is happening in the market, like Wormhole finds a way to be, a core piece of infrastructure for those trends, right? Whether it's like facilitating native cross-chain swaps or, some of our more nuanced products like NTT. I think it's special. Infinex, we're always cooking with Infinex. G Swidge actually did $10 million worth of volume through their Swidge product powered by Wormhole. I think, again, when it comes to the future of like account abstraction and user experiences, Infinex leading the charge there. Alt layer going natively cross-chain. And then the last one, Robinson, why don't you kind of explain like what this means? Like, this is our 8th deployment? I think
seven? Now I'm losing track.
Okay, but very cool regardless. Why don't you explain to everyone like what exactly is happening here?
Yeah, and then I want to hear from Kev on how he pronounces DeFi AI, because I don't really know how to pronounce it. So, but no, I think it's so a lot of people don't realize this because we focus so much on assets. I'll be honest though, like assets are 90% of everything multi-chain. A lot of the messages we send are in service of facilitating asset transfers, right? But what's really cool is that Uniswap a long time ago, probably like 2 years ago now, they wanted to go expand to their deployments. They wanted to go to additional chains. The problem they run into is that, okay, they're on mainnet, they expand to this other deployment. It's very decentralized, right? They have all these propositions that need to get passed, but how do you communicate whatever happens on one chain with the other one? So for instance, change the fees on a swap from this amount of bips to this amount of bips. So what happens is Wormhole actually is the messaging layer that delivers the governance proposal to ultimately enact it on whatever the chain they would expand to. And so Uniswap's actually expanded significantly kind of in the background to what Thomas was mentioning. I can't remember actually if this is the 7th or 8th, but Wormhole is the exclusive provider to passing all of those governance messages between the different chains. And the most recent one was Sonic, which is really cool. So that's just like another thing in the corner in the background that Wormhole's kind of behind the scenes powering. And I always think Uniswap is such a big application. I mean, I think they've literally done trillions in index volumes, trillions with the T, which is crazy. And it's just really cool to be able to secure the governance in that way, because if you can submit a faulty governance message, you can really mess up a protocol in a big way. So it's a big responsibility. But anyway, back to DeFi AI. I'm curious, how do we pronounce that?
DeFi, I don't know, man. We got to stop making up words. This is the problem with our industry. Like, just trade the token, dude. To
be honest, I don't think it picked up a lot of steam, to be fair. I think it's kind of dead in the water at this point. Definitely.
It's just DeFi. I mean, what do we got? Like 5 more years between the distinction between AI and human even being a thing? Soon we'll just be one thing. Like, why bother? Sorry, I'm living in the future.
We'll soon have like a AI Kevin on this call. He'll be running the whole show, powered by DeepSeek.
No, there'll be 3 of us.
That's fine.
3.
Yeah, it'll be backed up on the cloud. It'll get hacked. It'll act the same way I act now. It all goes. It's a full circle.
Stored on the blockchain. I wish we had the soundboard, because we're gonna. Let's see if we can hear this.
Oh, I hear something.
Let's go. We're getting. All right. This is our segment for our guest. We're gonna welcome Kevin officially.
That's right. Finally, it's about me.
We're gonna give him an opportunity to tell us who he is, what he's been doing. He's an absolute chef, a media magician. And we're excited to have him on the Wormhole Ecosystem Call. He's pouring one up right now. Let's go. Welcome to the Wormhole, Kevin. I need you to give context to the people about what this video is. It was a fire video. It's not Solana season. It's the new dawn of Solana.
That's right. It's the dawn of the age of Solana. It's a new, we talk about Solana summer, Solana season. We're not thinking big enough, okay? Think about this in the future. So here, what makes America great in terms of economy right now? We have the best capital markets in the world. We have the New York Stock Exchange. We have NASDAQ. Here's the problem. Those run from 9 to 5. They're only accessible to people with capital. A lot of the early stage stuff is only available to people that are accredited investors, in other words, wealthy. The future looks like this. Anyone, anywhere in the world with a Wi-Fi connection is able to invest in the things they believe in, right? So when you invest in something, you're not just like putting money down, you're backing an idea. So when you buy Tesla stock, you're investing in a future with self-driving cars and storable solar energy, right? So in the future, it could be that somebody in a third world country, not just somebody with, a yacht here in the United States of America, will be able to invest in a startup anywhere in the world 24/7, and not just, and then there's more layers on top of that. You'll be able to trade every existing equity, every existing commodity, every single existing currency, new currencies that will come to exist in commodities and equities, memes, ideas, beliefs. All of these things are going to trade on chain, and I'm going to argue that a lot of it's going to trade on Solana because it is a composable L1. It doesn't have the friction of having different fragmentation of tokens, different fragmentation of liquidity, different needs for UX, abstracting the layer, all this extra infrastructure you have to build. I think it's ready to go today. So I think a large percentage of that is gonna run on Solana, and so therefore we are at the beginning of the age of Solana.
Let's go. And previously at the Solana Foundation, now working on your own endeavors. Why don't you give us the quick 2 minutes about what you're cooking?
Yeah. So I left the Solana Foundation with an idea, and this was before Trump won, or we knew what was going to happen, which is that we need to grow crypto in the USA, and not just Solana, but all of crypto. And it's something that I realized because it's something that's really close to my heart. Every time something happened in politics, my heart would jump a little bit, like, oh, maybe this is going to be ruined forever, this huge opportunity. And then I came to realize, like, this is America. What am I doing? Why don't I just handle this myself? Here's what's at stake. It's as far as I'm concerned, crypto is a national security issue. Here's why. Here's what's at stake. Trillions of dollars in GDP and tax revenue, millions of jobs, the ability to transact with a government approval or censorship, which is going to matter a lot as everything becomes digital. This is like the discovery of new land. It's not just an opportunity that if we pass up, then, it's no big deal. Somebody's going to take it. Somebody's going to take all that revenue. Somebody's going to take those jobs. And I want it to be the United States of America. And so that's the idea of All Might, my new company that I started. The idea essentially is it's a media company. And the eureka moment there is that the way that you affect change is through culture. Everything is downstream of culture, sentiment, policies, the desire to make changes in those policies. That's where I think I can make the biggest change. I can then, my product is culture. The profit is influence. The more influential I become, the more I can steer the culture in the right direction for this to be something impactful that improves the daily lives of everyday people, and then also be useful to policymakers, to communities, to projects like yours, and help Americans get to work in the crypto industry, help startups get fundraised, all of those things. I kind of become a glue in the middle of everything and this driving force.
Let's go. That was awesome. The real Ricoy, everybody. And soon to be a Wormhole maxi and contributor to the media machine that Wormhole is trying to be, right? Robinson would like nothing more than Wormhole to be a media machine at the center of the crypto revolution. So Kevin's going to help us get there.
I think it's a unique opportunity, right? We're between all these chains and we get to see almost in an unbiased way everything that's going on. And I think that Wormhole's in a very strategic opportunity and unique opportunity to be able to, educate on everything that's kind of going around and actually having skin in the game as a builder, as opposed to, I think there's a lot of people off chain, let's say not building on chain, maybe that they're doing the same. So I just think it's a unique opportunity, and I'm excited. I think I'm excited to do more of these ecosystem calls with Kev.
Let's go. God bless America.
So we're about to dive into our next segment. This is the fun one. We're gonna dive into the meat of some two massive announcements that happened this week. We're gonna dive into them. I think there's another thing that I wanted to highlight, but the other two are also pretty big. So without further ado, let's move into the Wormhole wins.
Melondak?
Oh yeah. Bang. So the first one is our all-time multi-chain volume. I think this is an insanely massive special number. We kind of covered it in the first few slides in terms of, the breadth that we cover. Robinson, you mentioned it being like a core and fundamental piece of infrastructure. We don't take the responsibility lightly. And I think that it's hard to put into a slide, kind of like what this means, like how many assets we support, how many chains we support, how much volume we support. So I think I just wanted to take an opportunity to flag that. And if you're ever interested in the kind of like deep diving any of this data that we've talked about today, I would say Wormhole Scan is a place to do it. And then if you ever want to see some like competition analysis, some of the stuff I referenced before, DeFi Llama is another place. But Wormhole Scan is one of the best tools to understand more about Wormhole, but to understand the multi-chain landscape, who's moving assets where, what chains are, supporting inflows, what chains are, seeing outflows, and 56 billion of that has been supported by Wormhole. So that's dope. I want to move on to our next slide, which is kind of covered our two big media announcements from this week. Wormhole, the institutions are going multi-chain. They're choosing Wormhole with an awesome partner in Securitize. They're awesome, but obviously the cool piece is the asset managers and the institutions that they support, and obviously they have chosen Wormhole as the exclusive interop provider to move these money markets and funds, these tokenized money markets and funds cross-chain. So I feel like we just look at these two massive logos, Robinson, but there's like so much, kind of like backstory to how we got here, even who Securitize is, like what they do, and how they're in this position, how we're in this position.
Yeah, maybe a quick moment of silence for such a magnanimous win. Okay, great. All right, I might go on a little bit of a rant here, but I've this is just such a big deal for Wormhole, and I can't and the industry. Sorry, I'm not even going to be biased. It's a big deal and I'll explain why. I've been in the industry now for many years, and we probably actually all have heard the phrase "the institutions are coming" or like "the institutions are here." We've definitely seen lots of announcements with proof of concepts, with pilots, in the spirit of pumponomics, if you will. I think what's so exciting about this, and maybe even before I say this, like I think in 2021, there was actually kind of a good shot at like the institutions coming on chain. I do think we were pretty close. And however, Black Swan events happened. The industry was very much so set back. Now in 2024 is like when this is actually happening. I remember still, and I was saying last night we were on a Spaces with Infinex with Kane, and I was saying that I remember getting the Block Explorer link for BUIDL, which is BlackRock's tokenized money market fund, moving cross chain. And I was just like, holy shit, it's real, right? Like that it's not a pilot, it's not a proof of concept, it's real. And so why this is cool, I'll break a lot of this down, or I'll try to be as concise as possible. But first of all, it's just badass for Wormhole that we have the trust of literally some of the largest funds in the world. BlackRock is the largest asset manager in the world. But why this is cool, or why tokenization? Well, number one, I think what tokenization does, and this is a very like broad phrase, but it democratizes finance. But what do I mean by that? So Apollo in particular is really cool, because what Apollo is doing is not a money market fund; it's a private credit fund. So it's giving effectively, ideally your regular retail user access to what we call private credit. How should you think about private credit? If a lot of the finance industry would probably call this alternative investments. What alternative investments usually mean is like, once you've diversified your portfolio enough, they will invest in things that give you a slightly higher yield. It's not VC returns where it's like 200% or zero. It's not, like treasury yields that are, anywhere from 2 to 5%, but it could be something like 8 to 13%, right? And usually what you're investing in is, let's just say like pre-IPO shares, things like that. However, all of this is not accessible to the majority of the population. You have to be what we call an accredited investor. There may even be actually some other qualifications. And why I think, at least in Apollo's case, this is so cool is that sure, you're giving access to, your almost everyday user, the ability to kind of have access to these yields. Again, everything comes with caveats, right? There's no free lunch. The higher the yield, there's other things you have to consider. Typically, alt investments have lockups and things like that. So it's a little bit different. But at the end of the day, what's so cool is that you now have access to this. So taking a step back, and I promise I'm almost done with my diatribe here. Securitize is really cool because what they've done is effectively made a full suite of services for all of the compliance and actually like tokenizing the assets for any sort of institution. So they're the middleman between the institution that says, hey, I want to bring things on chain, and the actual blockchains themselves. So they handle all of that logistics. And so Securitize just has positioned themselves to kind of win the market. I mean, they've got BlackRock, Apollo, I'm pretty sure KKR, I'm pretty sure Hamilton Lane. And so all of these institutions are going to come on chain through Securitize. And Securitize works exclusively with Wormhole. So once they come on chain, now they want to go on all the chains. Because when you talk to these institutions, they want to be on chain. They don't really care if it's, well, they do probably care a little bit, but they want to be access to all the liquidity and users, not just liquidity and users beholden to Solana. And so for them, it just seems like that's how it should be. Like that's how it should work. And of course, to us, we're like, no, these are different islands, right? Like, so it's a really unique partnership in the sense that Securitize is pretty much locked in all these institutions. Wormhole is working specifically with Securitize to take all these funds cross-chain. And so now what I think you'll start to see, obviously this just happened, but now that it's real, I think you'll start to see these tokenized funds happen more and more on chain and go to more and more different chains. And then users will be able to invest in these various opportunities. So all that being said, I'm wrapping up here, I promise. Like, I can't understate how monumental this is for Wormhole. Obviously, we've been doing the meme coins, been asset volumes for on-chain DeFi protocols for years, been in the trenches, and all of that is coming to fruition with, again, some of the largest funds, the largest fund in the world saying, hey, we're going to use you guys. So I don't know, for everyone that's been with us for a while, thank you. This has been a super like sentimental moment for the team. And, we're just going to accelerate more. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful. And sorry for being long-winded.
No, not at all. Special moment for us as a protocol, and then too for the industry. I think like everyone loves it, right? Everyone loves when new institutions come on chain because it's really net beneficial to everybody. So thank you, Robinson. Next time Kev will have the soundboard, and then he'll just be ripping the air horn, or yeah, there we go. Awesome. Well, the last thing I wanted to cover is just a roundup of everything that Wormhole contributors have been up to, and then we can kind of call it a day after this. But so I think, first off, want to shout out Katya and Nikhil. Katya, our head of growth, and Nikhil, our product lead at the Wormhole Foundation, did an awesome interview with Arjun from LiFi. I'd recommend everyone check that out, listen to that. It's a great 45-minute podcast. I think it's 45 minutes, but I certainly learned a lot. That was very cool to see. If you haven't already, read Robinson's The Bull Case for Blockchain Interop 2025. Great piece to start off the year hot. And then, we can't forget about Dan. Dan got all dressed up,
Trump.
black tie. Let's go to the crypto ball, which is cool to see. And then Robinson, you actually both just came back from, recently took a trip to Switzerland for CFC St. Moritz, which is an interesting. It's an interesting conference, right? It's not the biggest conference, but it's a very high signal, tailored event that Wormhole had the opportunity to be a part of.
Yeah, no, it was great, and I think the one comment I'll have there is we actually appreciated how much value we got out of this conference so much that last year we approached the CEO of the event and we said, hey, you know what, this is really good for capital markets, VCs, like it's kind of an investor focus a little bit. Would love something like this for builders. And I actually wrote a post about this yesterday, but I think ETH Denver, for instance, great conference, no shade, just it's so chaotic that actually getting meaningful stuff done and being able to get with someone where they're in the headspace to have a meaningful connection is virtually impossible. Sure, you're gonna have 32 coffees for 30 minutes a day, like that. I don't doubt that at all. I do that. But I think what's really nice about this conference and what we want to replicate, but more builder focused, is just slowing down. I call it slowing down to speed up. Like you slow down, you take stock of things, you get an understanding from people who are building in the space, where are things going, what you could be doing better. Sure, it's maybe you're not behind your laptop and executing, but you're making an investment that ultimately the CFC in St. Moritz paid off, in my opinion. But we'll try to do again in Switzerland, but builder focus this summer. So really good conference, and good to see the crypto ball representation and many more podcasts and stuff to come soon.
Awesome. Well, that was it from my side. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I think we have 2.4K live viewers right now, so that's pretty dope. Thank you, Kevin, for pulling up. Always, it was great to meet you. We're gonna have a lot more fun together in the future, Robinson. Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone that listened. Shout out the Wormhole community, the Wormhole fellows. I hope you guys got to listen to this because I think it was awesome. Yeah, W. Wrote the W.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah. That's it from us. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, guys. Honored to be here.